So the aspect of mindfulness, the more present we are with all aspects of our experience, then the more satisfaction, the more satisfying that experience is going to be. So that we're having the experience in a deeper way. We're not just skiing at that point, but we're actually communing with our body and with nature and with the sights and sounds and our own emotions about that whole experience, and all of that is flowing through us, not just the turns and the descent. Being mindful, being present, really adds to our enjoyment, our satisfaction, the amount of interest, the amount of bliss even that you can get being in nature, and allows us to just take things as they are and be present with them fully. So it doesn't need to be the most extreme, the most difficult, the first, the biggest, the baddest. It can just be what it is. So oftentimes we think of meditation as seated or sitting. Traditionally, there are three forms of meditation and stillness. There's sitting, lying down, and standing up. And all three are being completely still with the body. And then another level of meditation that's traditionally taught is slow walking meditation. And that's basically a repetitive movement where the body is doing something, but it doesn't require any thought. So you can completely focus on whatever concentration or meditation focus object you want, whether it's the breath or sound or feelings, just like you could while you were sitting. So you can do any focus that you can do sitting, you can do slow walking. You could even do it with simple movement that's repetitive, like some people meditate while they knit, or you could meditate while you're doing dishes. Just any very simple motion that doesn't require a lot of thought. And then the next level is meditation in action or meditation in life. And that's where you're actually meditating, doing whatever it is you're doing, whether it's driving or skiing or talking or working. And obviously that's more complex, especially if there's emotional charge involved. So if you're skiing, let's say, a run that you're totally comfortable with, that's going to be one level. But then if you're doing something that's very edgy for you and you're quite scared or anxious about it, can I do this? Is this going to be okay? Am I going to fall? Then that's much more complex. And that would go for any kind of other focus in life. So if you're driving slow versus driving fast in a freezing rainstorm, versus working, versus your boss comes in and starts telling you how you're not doing whatever you're doing correctly, and then the emotional energy gets raised, and then that becomes more and more of a complex meditation. It's harder to stay present and focused with any kind of emotional energy. So that's where we get into meditation in life, very complex meditation. But you can still meditate. The idea of meditation overall is that we're not trying to be good meditators, we're trying to have better lives. So we're bringing our meditative focus, our ability to be present with whatever's going on without going on autopilot and reacting or tensing up, etc., by keeping our mindfulness, keeping our presence, regardless of what's happening. Well, when I'm skiing and I'm on a run, then I'm usually cognizant of some kind of focus, which can change. So it can change moment to moment. But I try to keep one real direct body awareness without trying to, let's say, ski better. I'm just trying to be present with my body and so I always know if I'm paying attention where my weight is, where the edges are, whether I'm front or back. And then beyond that, I'm really trying to stay aware of the way things look, not just looking down at skis or down at the next turn, but really looking out, looking around to the extent that I can. So it's a lot of eye movement. It's not just focused ahead, but because you can only look up quickly, It's not like you're going to just stare at the mountains around you and not look where you're going. That's insane. But unless it's a really gentle, easy slope. But if I ski a lot of trees, I ski a lot of terrain where you got to really pay attention. But I still, and anytime I stop, I'm looking around. I don't get into any kind of digression around my life or thinking, or if I'm with somebody talking about stuff aside from what we're doing. Rarely get into long conversations about other stuff, but really just stay focused on, where we're going, what the snow's like, what the terrain's like, how it feels, catching our breath, etc. Like really try to stay in the moment with the experience and make that experience be everything that's coming through my senses. I have friends who, they want to go out in the mountains and they want to chat and socialize and hang out and do that kind of stuff. And that's not why I want to go. I don't, if you want to hang out and chat, we'll go to a coffee shop, we'll go hang out, have a beer, or whatever. But when I'm in nature, when I'm in the mountains, if I'm hiking, if I'm skiing, if I'm boating, doing whitewater or canoeing, I really want to be there. And I put time, energy, and money into getting there and making the time to be there. And that's what the experience is about. I don't want to drag my whole life with me, but I really want to be present with what's happening in that moment. And that means that there's time when there's no talking. And then it's totally fine to talk. And there might be things that come up that are interesting, and there might be some conversation that's digressive. But for the most part, we're not talking a lot, and when we are talking, it's about what's happening, or what's going to happen, or what happened that was really good, or what happened that, we screwed up and now we're lost, or whatever, Now, how do we get out of this ravine that we skied into that we weren't planning on climbing out of, and etc.